But now I'm out there meeting people and setting
Yeah.
meetings. It's different, but I really like it. I get a lot more satisfaction out of this job than I ever got out of a job in tech.
You found the Live Local Marketing Podcast, where business owners share their knowledge about what's working in the market today. Today, we're with Jon. Sir, tell us a little bit about your business.
I am an independent wealth manager affiliated with a company that is called 1847, and they handle all my back office and paperwork. I do it all through them. What I try to do mostly is reach people in the tech industry or other ambitious individuals and businesses. And I work with them to, take this collection of accounts. You got an insurance policy over here, you got an old 401k over here, bring it all together and, make it a cohesive strategy that is focused on your goals. So a lot of what I do is, working with, like I said, businesses and independent or businesses and individuals. And we really work hard to make sure their money's working hard for them.
That's perfect. That's excellent. Now, as we go through the questions, it'll be fun because you are in a fairly crowded space. It's a space that's getting more and more crowded with financials, but there's different things that you do that make yourself unique, and we'll get through those as we get through the questions. So are you ready for the questions?
I am ready for the questions.
Let's do this. All right. Talk to us about your very first customer.
My very first customer, when I first started in finance, I started at New York Life selling insurance. It's a good entryway to the industry. They have great training. I can't say enough good things about them. But I said, hey, to my friend, I'm going to be selling life insurance for, the near future, for from now on, and he said, oh my God, we want that. And we don't even know who to trust. And I said, you can trust me. And they said, of course we trust you. We've known you for 15 years. So my very first customer came to me through my friends and family network just by saying, hey, I got a new job. And what's great about this customer is they've grown with me. Once I got all my licenses to be an advisor and fiduciary, they gave me their old IRAs and let me manage them. So, I can do a lot with the insurance and the investments, and, having these people trust me and be so on board and refer me to people, it's just a great thing. I really appreciate them. And it was an easy customer to land because there was a need in their head. I didn't have to do much convincing or, prospecting for them. But yeah, really happy I have them, and they've been great to me.
It's the old phrase, you sell your first thing to your mom, right? It's always the first person that buys the stuff as a friend. Do you continue running your business like that? Like, is a lot of the stuff you do through friends, family, that kind of stuff, even to this day?
Well, I have a lot of friends and family, and I'm on, the regular channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah. And just the other day, an old friend reached out on Instagram, was like, hey, I've been on a financial journey for the last 3 years. I've hit a wall. Can you have a call with me? Well, how much does it cost? And sometimes friends and family. I do a lot of LinkedIn prospecting. I'm in a couple networking groups. I go to tech events to meet other tech, I'm a former tech professional, to meet tech people. And I really just lead with my personality and try to have a normal conversation, not like I'm here to sell something when I go out to networking events. And that's what's worked the best for me, just being likable and being friendly. And then people are like, oh, this guy is an affable nitwit. We could work with him. So that's how I get my customers. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So when you sit down at the beginning of the year, how do you set up your goals? What does that look like for you? Do you do them all at once? Do you do them throughout? What does it look like?
So I have a few goals or a few things I focus on in my business. One is investments. So this year, my goal is to get 2 to 3 million in assets under management. I'm almost there with my first million. And I give myself till March because I started in March, my year. So there's that, taking assets and, getting some under my belt. And then insurance, I won't sell it to anyone who doesn't need it, because I'm a fiduciary and it's a hard fit, but I have, a dollar amount of premium I have in mind that I try to achieve in a year. And then financial planning, I set my goal to do 10 to 15 comprehensive financial plans for people this year. And that's another part of my business where we look, like I said, we look at all the disparate accounts and we bring it all together. Yeah. Those are my goals.
So how do you know, how many people do you have to meet to get those goals? Like, do you sit down like weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly to sit down and kind of like, where am I at? How many more people do I need? Do you do that kind of analysis?
Yeah, I just adopted a new CRM, which helps.
Okay.
It's for the financial industry. It's all compliant for the record keeping, and yeah, I keep an eye on my goals. You do have to meet a lot of people, but fortunately,
Mm,
like I said, I try to connect with people on a personal level, and that seems to work the best. Instead of trying to pitch them a product or tell you I'm the best advisor, just being a
mm.
human and being nice, and that's what's worked the best for me. So yeah.
So creating content's not easy for you in your industry too. You got to be kind of careful. You're not allowed to say whatever you feel like saying because sometimes you can. There's a lot of restrictions. Does that play a part when you're goal setting? A quick break before we get to that next answer, because I know that answer is going to be brilliant, which is why I chose this moment to interrupt. If you love what you're seeing and you want to run your business off of warm marketing and referrals, visit our website, livelocalwarmmarketing.com. It's got valuable resources, office hours, memberships, the book, an array of resources to help you get rid of cold calls, cold leads, door knocking, and run a business you can be proud of through referrals and warm marketing. Now, back to the show.
One of my other goals that I forgot to mention is I'm going to produce 3 or 4 videos, short videos, maybe more this year.
Yeah.
And it has to be scripted and approved by
Yeah.
my
There you go.
supervisor. So there's a little bit of restriction there. I can't make any blanket statements. There's a lot of rules since I'm in finance and insurance, investments and insurance. But yeah, it's all reasonable. You just have to follow the process.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one kind of a handcuff, which I'm not envious of in your industry, like the having to tiptoe around certain things. But
Yeah.
so you made it mention in the first section about referrals. Talk to us again, some of the strategies are really working with you in regards to getting more referrals and meeting more people that you already know.
So I do a lot of LinkedIn prospecting.
Okay.
I send a ton of messages to other people in tech, and then I send a follow up with my calendar link if they want to have a meeting. That works okay. It's building my network on LinkedIn more than it's, producing meetings. But, people come
Got it.
back, once they know who you are, a year later, 6 months later, they're like, oh, I'm getting a pile of RSUs. I better prepare for this tax hit and talk to a financial advisor. There's that guy, John, that said he helped tech people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're on referrals. So also, like I said, going to live events, I always walk away with like 1 or 2 meetings.
Got it.
It's a no brainer to do one of those a week. And then I'm in a couple networking groups, and you build partnerships with other business owners. Like recently, for a referral machine, I set up with a fractional CFO, and she liked me so much, and wants to work with me. She put me on her website, and
Oh, really?
I'm her go-to financial advisor now. And I have the contract to sign. I was just
Awesome.
looking at it before this, so that'll be up and running soon. And it's a great opportunity because I need CFPs and CPAs in my back pocket. I have
Yeah.
plenty of CFPs through my company, but CPAs I got to find myself, and I have a few. But this fractional CFO has just carved out a really nice opportunity for me. And
Hmm.
she told me about one of the clients she's going to introduce me to first. And let's put it this way: I was floored to hear what kind of assets they have. It's a great referral, and looking forward to working with her. So that's my referral
Awesome.
bit, I think.
Yes. So your CRM, you talked about it really earlier. Does it allow you to remind the follow up and do that kind of thing too? Are you pretty strict about that?
I need to get better about that. I
Okay.
just
Fair.
adopted the CRM. I have another email drip campaign that I do through another marketing suite, and then they have all my posts need to be approved on LinkedIn, Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So they have a library of posts, for whatever month it is. If it's Black History, Pride, there's posts that go along with that. Posts on taxes when it's tax season, and I crank a lot out automated. Through not automated. I have to set it up and pick the posts,
Yeah.
but then
That
it
makes
goes
sense.
out. Yeah, so
Approved.
that's another way. Yeah, it's all approved, so that works
Yeah.
pretty well.
Okay. So as you start to find your way through and you're meeting more clients, especially these bigger ones that are putting on websites and so forth, do you ever stop and think about what scaling looks like? Is that even on your radar? What would that look like for you?
Well, I hope to get some staff soon, um,
Okay.
to help me with paperwork and let me focus on planning and
That's
clients.
good.
And another thing that I do is it's pretty common in the financial industry now. When I take assets under management, I leverage a TPAM or third party asset manager. And what they do is they do the trading for me because I'm in
Oh,
California and I'm not up with the stock market every morning. And my clients are someone who watches the stock market all day and reads research and makes trades based on that. So I, sub out the trading to a third party asset manager and they do a great job. So that helps you scale a whole lot. It's kind
yeah.
of the way the industry's turned. Before, if you're an advisor, you're managing everyone's portfolio. What if you have 100 portfolios and you need to talk to people all day? You can't really do your clients, give them what they deserve. So that's one of the other ways I scale by leveraging third party asset manager.
So when it comes to paperwork and stuff, though, too, that has to be a very specific person? Like that's a tough niche. Is it somebody who's already trained and approved to handle the paperwork, or is it somebody that your company has to approve? Like, how does that look for you?
Well, fortunately, I can hire whoever I want.
Oh, okay.
And then everything that I do with 1847 Financial, they have all the portals and all the documents you have to like put together for an advisory account opening. If someone moves their IRA, there's a lot of paperwork to do. But fortunately, there's a lot of people that will help you. So when I hire some staff, they'll have great resources when they get stuck, even if I don't know the answer. So they can focus on that, and I can focus on the business.
Hmm. Did you ever, at some point down the road, are you thinking about like team type stuff, or is you're like, not? I just like doing myself. I don't worry about teams.
No, I work with some other advisors. We share cases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if and then also like I have CFPs on my staff for when I have a complicated case. I have an advanced planning team that will help with
Wow.
like big
Wow.
estates. When it comes to really complicated cases, the more money someone has, and the more wives and children and houses. If you have 20 investment properties, I'm going to call somebody for help. I know
Yeah.
that I need to make sure I do the job correctly, and I have great
Yeah.
resources. So helps a lot.
That's huge. Yeah, that's absolutely huge. So I'm going to shift from the friendly commercial questions to a little more tougher, like nail you down type questions. So can you think of a competitor in your space that you admire that does a great job, that's somebody you may like take a look at maybe over your back shoulder, somebody that's doing it well?
Yeah, I'll talk about the insurance business, the life insurance and annuity
Perfect.
business. New York Life has great products and they do things very well. I think they're a good company, but now I have kind of access to all carriers. If you work at New York Life, you can
Mm,
only sell New York
yeah.
Life.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're a good competitor, but I can quote every carrier for my
Yeah.
clients when it comes to insurance. So yeah,
What are
they're a
some of
good
the
company. Go ahead.
what are some of the marketing things and stuff that they do that you're like, cool, I'd love to be able to do that, or that inspires me, or that pushes me to work harder?
Yeah, they have a big presence. As far as the
Yeah.
annuity market
Okay.
goes, they have 3/4 of market share. So they're out there with their, AARP, they're
Yeah.
linked up with. That's a really cool thing to have.
Yeah.
Um, they also have, giant company money. So there's, commercials,
Endless budget. Yeah,
endless
that's right.
budget. So
Yeah.
everybody's heard of New York Life,
Yeah.
and very few people have heard of Jon Kovach just yet.
That's good. And then there's a few of other ones like that, like New York Life. Then there's a few other ones too, like that are big budgets that you have to compete with. What makes it so you're a little more nimble? Is that your advantage then, since these are big boats, big companies, these are big ships, that
They're
you're
big ships.
more nimble?
Yeah, I'm more nimble. I'm an independent, so I'm not bound to one carrier. Like I said, I can sell all the carriers. And then I don't have any big company BS to deal with. I don't
Yeah,
have
it's true.
to adhere to like certain standards, sell
Yep.
products that I don't want to sell because they told me to sell them, that sort of thing. So I can act in my client's best interest since I have access to more carriers and more uh,
Stuff like that.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now that they have the big companies, they have big budgets, they're big boats, they can't turn very quickly. What about you personally? We're gonna have you an opportunity to talk about your unique proposition. What about you that makes you stand out? That something you can do that nobody else really can do in your industry?
Sure. I can really, do my clients do best by my clients because of the
Yeah,
open architecture.
that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, when it comes to placing investments, I have access to like everything, under the sun, whether it's BlackRock or Fidelity. And I also have access to funds and ETFs that aren't on the street on Wall Street. They're only available to advisors. So I can create a really nice portfolio. I have a few companies, TPAMs, third-party asset managers I work with. One's Investnet and the other one is Mariner. And Mariner is like the white glove service. It is fantastic. If you have a taxable account, they're tax loss harvesting for you. They're making sure your money's working hard for you. And, you set your risk preference and, you pick the stocks and they manage it. So having, that resource also helps me, set myself apart.
Well, what about your background in tech? Like your background in tech is something I don't hear very often with people that are in the financial space. Like that is a unique background. Talk to us about how that plays a role in everything.
Yeah, it started a long time ago. I got an internship at Oracle, almost 20 years ago. And, I worked my way around at different companies, and then I eventually ended up at Microsoft. And, it worked out for a while, but the opportunity to change careers presented itself. And I was like, I studied finance. I help everybody with their credit and their finances. Maybe I should just do that as my job. And, I left big tech because it's kind of tough out there right now. And I decided to start my own independent advisory and independent firm.
So yeah, that's awesome. And then you have a lot of connections, a lot of people you've met throughout the years, I'm sure, as well in that space.
Oh, yeah. Tons. My LinkedIn is like, thousands of people. And my first job in tech was a recruiting resourcer. I try to set up meetings for the recruiters. Yeah, so that's why I got LinkedIn in 2007, and I have a mountain of people to go through and contact from that recruiting experience, and then all the years in tech where I met people at different companies.
I mean, so that same background in recruiting meetings it's the same thing you're doing, but just not for yourself, right? You're trying to set up meetings for yourself instead of other people.
Exactly. It's what I started with has come full circle, and I'm here again. For a lot of years, I got paid to sit there and think, an analyst, a business development rep, a deal desk member, these other roles that I've carried, proposal manager. And, it's nice, you just do your job and you get paid. But now I'm out there meeting people and setting meetings. It's different, but I really like it. I get a lot more satisfaction out of this job than I ever got out of a job in tech, because I can see the impact I have on people's lives. If you get your retirement growing, and you didn't have that figured out and you were in the wrong funds or whatever before, I feel good about my job. Other jobs that I had in tech, I was making other corporations have a better customer service experience and, save money and make a lot of money, big corporations. And, that got old. So I like the personal level.
That's awesome. That is really a full circle. That's amazing. All right. So before we get to where people can get a hold of you, let's talk about one more thing. When we set up this second episode, in 5 years, where's Jon going to be? What are you going to look like? What's going to be happening? What are you going to be? Big old cars, big houses? What are you going to be?
Oh, I already got the big old cars, big houses.
I going to be in 5 years.
In 5 years, I'm going to be in the same house. I'm going to be driving the same old cars, but I will. I got an old Mercedes, an old van. I love them. Nice. But in 5 years, it's going to look like night and day. There's great opportunity here. I'm ramping up. It's been the first few years, and in 5 years, I expect to have maybe $25-50 million in assets under management, some staff, and have carved out a nice space for myself and be a go-to resource for a lot of people.
That's awesome. So by then, though, you're not going to be scrolling through LinkedIn and messaging people. I'm assuming you'll have a nice little database of people you can work through. You won't have to do all that grunt work. Yeah,
no more grunt work. And the phone will be ringing. It's ringing a little bit now, but I can only imagine in 5 years, once I put myself out there, the call started coming, the message started coming. So it's going great, but I think in 5 years, it'll be going super great.
That's awesome. All right. So you said the stage, you said it out loud. You have 25 to 50 million in assets when we meet you again in 5 years, June in 2031.
Oh my
gosh. Ready to go. You spoke it out into the universe. You're ready to go. So how can people, obviously in LinkedIn, but how can people get a hold of you, set up a meeting with you, or get more information about what you do?
Sure. If you go to LinkedIn, there's a click to book an appointment link. Also on my Facebook, there's one. My information's out there. LinkedIn's probably the best. You just search for Jonathan Kovac, and I'll come up right away.
That's awesome.
All my information's there. I can also send some over to you if you want to share it.
Do you have like a newsletter, or do you do anything breaking down more? Because I know on social media you've got a lot of restrictions, but do you break down and have like more one-on-one, more juicy information in a newsletter or anything like that?
I do have a newsletter, and I've got about 400 or 500 people subscribed, and it's going up. It comes out once a month, the beginning of the month. And I don't like to bother people and be annoying with 50 emails in 1 month. One or two is plenty. And it's timely. It has topics, for that month that makes sense. Like I said, if it's Pride Month, Black History, anything like that, tax season. Yeah. So it's a good newsletter. It goes out once a month, and it reaches a lot of people, and I get responses from it. A lot of them from my family who are asking, "Why are you emailing me?" But they can refer me. Somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Yeah, I took all my emails out of my Gmail and put them in there, and then people can unsubscribe or whatever. Yeah, but my uncle writes me back every month, and he's like, "It's all about business. I want to hear about you." So I've had to make sure he understands why he's getting the emails and talk to him more.
That's awesome.
He's a great guy. Awesome. He's an inspiration to me. Yeah.
It's good to see you getting started and how like your early success and like how it's just going to grow from here. So you keep working at it. This is great. And then, like I said, in 5 years, you have 25 million. It's almost guaranteed. You keep doing the things you're doing and keep plugging away and keep being an honest, trustworthy person. It's gonna be a great business for you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing all the information and how you're doing your marketing today.
Yeah, of course, Billy. Nice to be here. Thank you.
And if authentic, practical marketing resonates with you, be sure to visit livelocalwarmmarketing.com and learn to grow your business on warm marketing referrals.